It's week 3, Cowboy Nation, and we're getting ready to take on the Chicago Bears. Today, we're going to break down a very dangerous Chicago Bears team. Caleb Williams, Montez Sweat, DJ Moore, Odunze. This squad has firepower, very sneaky firepower. But the question is, how do the Cowboys match up with the Chicago Bears? Let's get into it. So I said it before and I'll say it again. Before you can break down a team, you got to once respect their history and understand the circumstance they're coming in with. New regime, fresh regime, same GM, former head coach, of course, in Eberflus, and the new head coach is former OC, former dynamic OC of the Lions, Ben Johnson, starting his tenure now, hired this year, built numerous of years of top 5 offenses in yards and points, especially in 2023, 2024, known as an offensive innovator and specializes in motion, spacing, and play action. His OC is Declan Doyle. Okay, first time OC. Okay, previously was a tight end coach and a passing game assistant with the Saints and the Lions, known for his detailed passing concepts and player development. Then we have the former head coach for the Saints the past couple of years and now DC for the Chicago Bears, Dennis Allen. He joined this regime, long defensive resume. You know, most people didn't notice he's actually a 2-time former head coach. He coached back in 2012 and 2014 with the Raiders, I think during their time in their shift. And he got a job with the Saints. It didn't turn out too well, but you know, most defensive coordinators don't turn out well in this league. And it's very hard for them to stick around, but runs a very aggressive 4-2-5 defense. His base package is a nickel package, emphasizes disguises and run fit. So let's dig a little bit deeper in these coaches, because like I said, this is a new regime. Okay, there's not a lot of film of them together, but there's a lot of film of them where they came from on their journey. We know with Ben Johnson, he is an innovator. He's known for play stealing. He's an evolving form of evolution when it comes to offense. Okay, he was the main hire that everyone wanted. Of course, in the scheme, very motion heavy. Okay, he wants to get the eyes moving. He wants you to hit. He has a ton of eye candy getting you move out of position. He's based in the spread. If you don't know, the spread is something that came along in the new ages when I was playing. It came around the late 2010s, 2015. It's just a entire scheme meant to make the defense spread out thin and make them cover every blade of grass. Okay, and this is what really changed and became the main vocal point of like the linebackers adapting and everything like that. But from that, he still has like a power mentality within it, because he has play action attack out of that. We know what he liked to do as previously with the Detroit Lions, especially with that Sonic and Knuckles combo of David Montgomery and Jahmyr Gibbs. That run game and then that play action behind it allowed, you know, receivers like St. Brown, who specializes in the intermediate areas, and Sam Laporta, and then on top he had a Jameson Williams. But he's bringing that here to Chicago. Everything is centered around you being confused, you being overwhelmed and covering multiple limbs of the field, but it's all predicated on very simplification in the offense, especially for a rookie quarterback. And if you remember, like a Jarrett Goff, that if you do it correctly, you will put up big numbers in. Their whole aspect of it. You will know when this offense is on fire, when they're in rhythm, and of course it's going to create explosive plays, which last week, Dallas Cowboys, we really need to correct. Okay, how does Declan Doyle functions in all of this? Like I was mentioning, everything with he was doing at Detroit, I think Declan Doyle is almost a match made in heaven with that, the intermediate area. He can focus on that, and in particular, I think he's brought in the entire marriage point between the pass and the run game, and the run action and play action. But his emphasis is going to be in the mid-skill area. Of course, there's skill, mid-skill, and lineman. Mid-skill is running backs and tight ends and their involvement in how they can occupy and basically take advantage of the middle of the field, because that's where the most dangerous part of this offense and the conjuring of what they're trying to do is. Okay, he's meant to give and make sure Williams have multiple outlet options. Okay, this offense is meant to set up to have multiple checkdowns and multiple, just to continue to move the sticks and move the line of scrimmage. And I think that's where Declan Doyle comes in there, okay, for situational play calling, also red zone efficiency. Now, switch it over to defense and Dennis Allen, and we know what his scheme. Like I said, he's a nickel-based defense with disguise coverages and pressure looks. He's cousins what we used to have here in Dallas, and I'm talking about schematical cousins with a Mike Zimmer. And we know with those disguise coverages and disguise principles, it can overwhelm an opponent. But it takes a very high cerebral quarterback and pre-snap in order to identify the patterns and what they're trying to do. And also, you're going to need personnel in order for this to happen, because he's putting a lot on his defense when he's giving in multiple assignments. So look for blown coverages, because we had that as well, because he may have them, hey, where we show cover one and we'll rock and roll to cover three. Rock and roll means where the safeties are exchanging responsibilities, or the disguise is within the entire defense. Now, the nickel base is what I want to focus on, because he wants to stop the run with light boxes. And I feel like, you know what, this is better said than done, but if you have the key personnel for that, you can do a lot of damage. And keeping that nickel personnel means you won't ever find yourself technically out of position when people want to go into play action, but you're still in nickel. So, and we got to take advantage of that, okay? But I think his defense is meant to confuse young quarterbacks by rotating the shell, because like I said before, we always know quarterbacks, as soon as they come to the line and pre-snap, the first thing they're looking at is the roof tells everything. The roof tells the coverage. The roof tells what blitz they're gonna rotate the coverage to replace the blitz or away from the blitz. It tells everything with a defense. So that's where they're trying to do. They're trying to cause disruption and mistiming. Okay, so yeah, but they're gonna be opportunistic on there. But they're still a nickel-based defense at the end of the day. All right, now we should know. Let's go into the X factor with the offensive, report. Okay, get your notepads up. Caleb Williams. At the top of the entire scouting report should be Caleb Williams, the former #1 overall pick. I know people were out on him and still, don't agree with him off the field, but I'm telling you right now, this kid is still very dangerous. I am, for one of the people actually do still believe in him, and I think he's going to be very dangerous next to a Ben Johnson, because one thing he has that I think Ben Johnson never has is the creativity, the combination of his legs and his arm. Now, his arm can be erratic at times, but I think that's mainly because of his mechanics. And I think the entire thing that Ben Johnson's going to do is going to simplify the offense around him and simplify his mechanics, but also have a complex of motions around him, so you still be confused like it. So when he's playing football, it's still going to look elementary, but I'm telling you, in the entire picture where everything's happening, it's going to be even more dangerous. Okay, and his play style is a direct weakness, our kryptonite. I'm telling you right now, the dual threat, because we play that bend but don't break scheme. And we got to be disciplined this week, especially in the run lanes and rush lanes, okay? We got to force him to win on schedule. We cannot get off schedule and make him roll outside the pocket and have the routes be in his third and fourth read. We got to make sure he's playing within a schedule, okay? And just play great, safe football, okay? Of course, veteran receiver DJ Moore, he has some critiques about him being lazy, but I think he's being better this year. Veteran receiver, physical route runner, his after catch ability is going to be great. We got to make sure to roll coverage his way, and just make him. I don't want Williams and him getting comfortable, especially with the news we found out that Trayvon Diggs is now on the report. So it's going to be very much so important. We got to cover these guys. The young receiver that came in with Caleb Williams and Odunze is a potential rookie star with size. He got contested catch ability. We got to get physical with him, disrupt the timing, and test his release versus physical corners. And then I really like what they did with the offensive line. They chose to upgrade through the offensive line. I think mostly in free agency and in the draft, they got through from Kansas City. They got Jackson, Dahlman. So they got a new offensive line, so they're trying to gel. Let's attack them while they're still gelling, okay? Let's not let them gel in this game, okay? Attack the weak spots. I feel like interior pressure is always the Achilles heels for any type of dual threat quarterback, any type of young quarterback. So let's take advantage of that. As for this defense report, I wanted to be quick with this because there's a lot of their guys that's hurt, and we got to take advantage of this. Like I said, we should know about Tremaine, Edmunds, rangy linebacker in zone drops. He's a good, solid linebacker, but he still falls for misdirection and play action that will pull him out of position. Jaquan Brisker, which Eberflus really love. I wish he would have brought him to Dallas because he's just a high activity safety, tone setter at the box. He's the key in making his nickel defense work. His activity, we got to take advantage of that. You know what I'm saying? So use motion and quick throws to get him in space, and actually, I want to test him downhill. I still do. Kevin Byard, the former Eagle that they got rid of, veteran ball hawk, and he's the key in disguising coverages because with his veteran, he should know all of this. He should play like he played something similar to this in Tennessee. So listen, attack him. I really want to attack him because he was a liability with the Eagles. And I even with the disguising, make sure we're executing, but I am not afraid of Kevin Byard in my opinion. And then Montez Sweat, who's also a former Eagle and everything like that. Explosive, first step, long arms, disrupts QBs. Another test for, some tackles. I think he may be lined up over guiding or steal. I'm very confident in. I don't follow the Reddit what everyone else is saying. I think guys are gonna be fine. Neutralize him. I think how you attack this defense, you're gonna have to run at them. I know people are saying let's fall for the trap of the shootout. Sure, I'm not denying on that, but let's not still get the fact that this is still a nickel defense at the end of the day. So my keys to victory, of course, play disciplined football, no self-inflicted wounds, no penalty. This is very key. This is something we need to keep doing. I think we're fairly doing that a little bit well. I'm very surprised at it actually, because normally the Cowboys would have more penalties than this. Of course, contain Caleb Williams. Contain. I'm looking at you, defensive line. I do not want any willy-nilly out of control rushes, and I want a plan to contain this guy because I feel like if you let him get out of structure, he becomes even more dangerous and everything like that. Neutralize the weapons. It's going to be even more harder to even do that because we're missing some guys, but it can still be done. Execute on offense. Execute. This defense is liable, and this defense is missing a lot of pieces, especially their key guy in a Jalen Johnson. So let's not let up on that and attack them in the run game as well. Like I said, attack the light boxes. They're a nickel-based team. Attack run game. I know we're missing BB. This would be great to have BB this week, but I trust Brock Hoffman, especially for a couple of games. Let's get that run game. Let's get that gap going, and let's get Javonte Williams running downhill and oppose our will, so we're even more dangerous on the run action, play action, and then of course stay balanced, establish the run game, and use play action to stretch the secondary and everything like that. This game does scare me, Cowboy Nation. I'm not even gonna lie. I'm gonna keep it a bean with you because, like I said, there's some injuries that just came up on the scouting report, and then there's some guys on their side of the ball that reminisce of what we've been missing. And then last week, of course, with I know we're gonna correct the communication, but I still don't trust those guys because it's going to be very important this week if we can't contain Caleb Williams. I barely trust Malik Hooker and Donovan Wilson on one route, but what about scramble drill? You know what I'm saying? When it's got time to move their hips. What about in Tampa 2 with Sanborn? You know what I'm saying? Like, what now with Diggs' possibility and he's on the injury report? What about these corners coming in? Because now it's getting like, ooh-wee. You know what I'm saying? So we have to execute. This may be an offensive dogfight, but I'm looking at Eberflus to as the troops and actually go out there and secure the victory nonetheless. That's been my time, Cowboy Nation. Until next time, make sure to like the video, make sure to subscribe for more content, turn on for notification bell so you can see more great content like this. Hype the video, and y'all know who we do this for, man. The first blame, the last congratulated, man. I love you. Peace.